Deep in the heart of space, where stars barely twinkle and darkness rules everything, something incredible was about to happen. The Galactic Council had been having another boring meeting about trade routes when suddenly, every screen in their massive headquarters started flashing red dot. Captain Vex, a tall blue alien with 4 arms, nearly dropped his energy drink in all his years of service. He had never seen the emergency systems activate like this. The sound that filled the room wasn't just any alarm. It was the old distress code, the one that hadn't been used for over 300 years. "What's happening?" asked Commander Zara, her silver skin reflecting the flashing lights. She was the head of the rescue division, someone who had saved countless lives across the galaxy. But even she looked confused. The main computer spoke in its calm, electronic voice. "Emergency signal detected from Sector 7G Delta. Unknown origin. Immediate response required." Every alien in the room turned to look at the big screen. There, floating in the darkness of space, was a tiny dot of light, a star system they had never seen before. The signal was coming from there. Weak but desperate, run a full scan, Vex ordered his team. "I want to know everything about that system." The next few minutes felt like hours. Alien scientists with tentacles for fingers worked frantically at their computers, others with multiple eyes studied star charts that hadn't been updated in decades. Finally, the chief scientist, a small green creature named Pip, cleared his throat. "Sir, we found something strange. The signal is coming from the 3rd planet in that system. But according to our readings, that planet shouldn't be able to support life." "What do you mean?" Commander Zara asked, moving closer to the screen. Pip's hand shook as he pointed to the data. "The planet has oxygen levels that would poison most of us. The gravity is almost twice what we consider normal. And the weather, sir, they have storms that could destroy our strongest ships." The room fell silent. Every alien knew what this meant. They were looking at what their books called a death world, a planet so dangerous that nothing should be able to live there. Yet someone was down there, calling for help. "Maybe our equipment is wrong," suggested another scientist. But everyone knew their technology was too advanced to make such mistakes. Captain Vex studied the readings again. The planet was covered in water and land spinning through space at incredible speed. Lightning storms raged across its surface. Massive chunks of ice floated in its oceans. The whole place looked like a nightmare. "Sir," Pip said quietly, "there's more. Our computers show that a massive asteroid is heading straight for that planet. Based on our calculations, it will hit in just a few days." The room erupted in worried chatter. Aliens spoke in 12 different languages. But the fear was universal. Someone down there was about to face total destruction, and they were the only ones who knew about it. Commander Zara stepped forward. "We have to help them. It's our duty." But Captain Vex wasn't so sure. "Zara, look at those readings again. Even if we could get there in time, how could anything survive on a planet like that? Maybe we're misreading the signals. The distress code is real," Pip insisted. "Someone taught them our emergency language. They know we're out here, and they're asking for help." The debate continued for hours. Some aliens argued it was too dangerous to send ships to such a hostile place. Others said they couldn't ignore a call for help, no matter how strange the situation seemed. Finally, the Grand Council made their decision. They would send a rescue fleet, 7 of their best ships, equipped with the most advanced technology in the galaxy. Captain Vex would lead the mission, with Commander Zara handling the actual rescue operations. As the fleet prepared to leave, strange reports kept coming in about the mysterious planet. The beings down there seemed to have built massive cities despite the dangerous conditions. They had developed technology that worked in ways alien scientists couldn't understand. Most puzzling of all, they seemed to be fighting back against the asteroid instead of simply trying to escape. "Fighting back," Vex muttered as he read the latest report. "Against a space rock the size of a small moon. That's impossible." But the evidence was clear. Energy signatures showed the planet's inhabitants were actually shooting things at the asteroid, trying to break it apart or change its path. It was the kind of plan that made no sense to anyone in the Galactic Council. "Sir, called out Navigator Quinn from the bridge. "We're approaching the system now. You need to see this." Vex rushed to the main view screen and gasped. The planet was even more terrifying up close. Swirling clouds covered most of the surface, occasionally broken by flashes of lightning that could be seen from space. The storms were so powerful they created their own light. "How's anything alive down there?" whispered Commander Zera. "Look at the energy readings." Quinn pointed to his instruments. "There are millions of them, maybe billions. They've built structures all over the planet, even in the most dangerous areas." The fleet moved closer, their sensors working overtime to understand what they were seeing. The planet's inhabitants had built cities near active volcanoes, floating structures on their violent oceans, and even settlements in areas where the temperature changed drastically from day to night. "They're not just surviving," Vex realized with growing amazement. "They're thriving." But how? The answer would come soon enough, but first, they had to make contact. The rescue fleet positioned itself in orbit, preparing to meet beings unlike anything the galaxy had ever known. These weren't ordinary survivors, they were something entirely new. As the communication systems powered up, ready to send the first message, every alien in the fleet felt the same mixture of excitement and fear. They had come expecting to find typical refugees needing standard rescue procedures. Instead, they had discovered a world full of beings who lived every day in conditions that would destroy most known civilizations. The asteroid continued its deadly approach, and time was running out. But the real shock was still to come when they finally spoke to the inhabitants of this impossible world. They would learn that these beings called their deadly planet home and had no intention of leaving without a fight. The galaxy was about to meet the Deathworlders, and nothing would ever be the same again. The asteroid pieces were already starting to hit Earth's atmosphere. When Dr. Kate Williams first heard the strange signals coming through her radio equipment, she had been working the night shift at the Deep Space Research Center, drinking her fifth cup of coffee and wondering if she'd chosen the wrong career, when suddenly every screen in the facility lit up like a Christmas tree. "What the heck?" she muttered, spilling coffee on her keyboard. The signals weren't coming from any human, satellite, or space station. They were coming from somewhere much farther away, and they were trying to talk at first. It sounded like gibberish, weird clicks and whistles that made no sense. But Kate had spent years studying radio patterns from space, and something about these sounds felt different. They had structure, almost like someone was trying to speak a language she didn't understand. Meanwhile, up in orbit, Captain Vex was having his own problems. His translation computers were working overtime, trying to make sense of the signals coming from the planet below. Every few minutes, they pick up fragments of what seemed like organized communication. "Sir, call Navigator Quinn from his station. I think they're trying to coordinate something down there. Listen to this." The bridge speakers crackled with human voices, speaking rapidly in different languages the aliens couldn't understand the words, but the urgency was clear. These beings were in the middle of some kind of massive operation. "Are they evacuating?" asked Commander Zera hopefully. "I don't think so," Quinn replied, studying his instruments. "Actually, it looks like they're mobilizing, moving resources toward the asteroid threat, not away from it." Back on Earth, Kate finally managed to isolate one of the alien signals. She fed it through every translation program she could find, and slowly, incredibly, words began to form on her screen. "Unknown beings, we are here to help, respond. If you can understand." Kate's hands shook as she typed back a response using the same signal pattern. "We understand you. We are humans. We live on this planet. Who are you?" The silence that followed lasted only a few seconds, but it felt like ours. Then her speakers exploded with excited alien chatter. Even though she couldn't understand most of it, Kate could tell there were shock up on the alien flagship. The translation breakthrough caused chaos. Captain Vex stared at the human message displayed on his screen, reading it over and over again. "They call themselves humans," he announced to his crew, "and they say they live on that planet." "Live on it?" Commander Zera looked confused. "But, sir, our sensors show that world is completely hostile. Nothing should be able to live there. Tell that to them, Vex replied, gesturing at the screen. The conversation between Kate and the aliens grew more complex as their translation systems improved. What started as simple word exchanges became full sentences, then entire conversations. And with each exchange, both sides became more amazed. You have ships in space, Kate typed. How many of you are there? 7 vessels, came the reply. We are part of the Galactic Council. We received your distress signal and came to rescue you from the asteroid impact. Kate laughed out loud, which probably wasn't the most professional response to first contact with aliens. But she couldn't help it. Rescue us? We're not planning to go anywhere. We're going to stop that asteroid. The alien response took much longer this time. Kate imagined them up there, arguing about what she had just said. Finally, a new message appeared. Stop the asteroid. How is this possible? The object is massive. Your technology appears primitive compared to galactic standards. Primitive? Kate typed back, feeling a bit insulted. We've been to our moon. We have nuclear power. We've sent robots to other planets in our system. You travel in space despite living on a death world. Kate paused, confused. Death world? This is just Earth. It's our home. While Kate was having the conversation of a lifetime, General Harrison Blake was dealing with a crisis of his own. The asteroid fragments were getting bigger, and his military teams were running out of options. That's when one of his communication officers burst into the command center. Sir, you need to hear this. We're getting signals from space. Not from the asteroid, from something else. And they're trying to talk to us. Blake listened to the recorded conversation between Kate and the aliens, his expression growing more serious with each exchange. By the time it was over, he had made a decision that would change human history. Give me a direct line to whoever's up there, he ordered. If they're offering help, we need to hear what they have to say. The next few hours were unlike anything anyone had ever experienced. Humans and aliens shared information about their respective worlds, technologies, and cultures. The aliens learned that humans regularly did things that would terrify most galactic species. Deep-sea diving, mountain climbing, racing vehicles at dangerous speeds, and exploring hostile environments for fun. The humans, meanwhile, discovered they were part of a vast galactic community filled with peaceful species who had solved most of their problems through advanced technology and careful planning. You fight wars? Asked Captain Vex during one conversation with General Blake. When we have to. Blake replied honestly, we prefer peace, but we'll defend ourselves if necessary. And you explore dangerous places voluntarily. That's how we learn and grow. Risk is part of life. The alien crew fell silent at this response. In their civilization, risk had been eliminated centuries ago. They lived safe, comfortable lives with predictable outcomes. The idea of choosing danger was completely foreign to them. But what really shocked the aliens was humanity's response to the asteroid crisis. Instead of panic or despair, humans around the world were working together with a level of cooperation the Galactic Council had never witnessed. Scientists shared data across political boundaries. Military forces coordinated with former enemies. Civilians volunteered for dangerous missions without being asked. They're not even the same subspecies, Commander Zera observed, watching Earth's communication networks. They have different skin colors, speak different languages, live in different regions, yet they're working as one unit. It's incredible. Agreed Navigator Quinn. Most species can barely cooperate within their own families. But these humans are treating the entire planet like it's one big family. As the hours passed, the aliens realized they weren't dealing with a typical rescue situation. These humans weren't waiting to be saved. They were actively fighting back against impossible odds, using methods that made no sense by galactic standards, but somehow seemed to be working. The real surprise came when General Blake made an unexpected proposal. Why don't we work together? Your technology plus our tactics might be exactly what we need to save Earth. The aliens had come expecting to evacuate a few survivors from a dying world. Instead, they found an entire species that refused to give up their home without a fight. The humans didn't want to be rescued. They wanted to be partners, and somehow, despite all logic and galactic experience suggesting it was impossible, their crazy plan just might work. The biggest piece of the asteroid was now just 12 hours away from Earth, and Captain Vex was beginning to understand why humans were considered impossible. By galactic standards, he stood in the war room that General Blake had set up, watching human military officers work alongside his alien crew members, and everything he thought he knew about crisis management was being turned upside down. The fragment is roughly the size of Manhattan, reported Lieutenant Colonel Rita Hayes, pointing at the holographic display. Our nuclear missiles barely scratched it. Your energy weapons made some progress, but not enough, Commander Zare studied the readings with her 4 eyes, each one focused on different data streams by galactic protocols. We should evacuate the population centers and minimize casualties. The fragment will impact the ocean, causing massive tsunamis, but most inland areas will survive. Most inland areas? Blake's voice carried an edge that made the aliens uncomfortable. That's still talking about millions of people who won't make it. General Blake, Captain Vex said carefully, in galactic crisis management, we calculate acceptable losses based on mathematical probability. Saving everyone is typically impossible. The room fell silent. Human officers exchanged glances that the aliens were beginning to recognize, the look humans got right before they did something that defied all logical thinking. Well, Blake said slowly, we're not typical, are we? Rita, tell them about Operation Longshot. Lieutenant Colonel Hayes smiled, and Captain Vex noticed it was the same expression humans wore when they were about to suggest something incredibly dangerous. We're going to drill into the asteroid's core and plant charges from the inside. Not just regular explosives. We're talking about a combination of our nuclear devices and your energy cores. The alien crew members started talking, all at once in their various languages. But the tone was universal. They thought the humans had lost their minds. The radiation exposure alone would be fatal, Commander Zara protested. The drilling equipment would need to be operated manually, because the electromagnetic interference inside the asteroid would disable any remote systems. Whoever goes in, there won't be coming back. Blake nodded. We know. That's why we're asking for volunteers only. What happened next shocked every alien in the room. Before Blake had even finished speaking, dozens of human hands shot up around the room. Officers, scientists, engineers, even communications specialists, all volunteering for what everyone knew was a one-way mission. I don't understand, Captain, Vex said quietly to Dr. Kate Williams, who had been brought in as the primary human-alien communication liaison. Don't they realize they'll perish? Kate looked at him with genuine confusion. Of course they do. But if they don't try, everyone on Earth might perish. The choice is pretty obvious. Navigator Quinn leaned over to his captain. Sir, I've been studying their cultural databases. This behavior pattern appears frequently in human history. They call it heroism, and it seems to be considered normal among their species. The mission planning took 6 intense hours. Humans and aliens worked side by side, combining technologies that had never been meant to work together. The aliens provided precision drilling equipment that could cut through almost anything, along with energy shields that might protect the mission team from the worst radiation. The humans contributed their expertise with explosives and their ability to improvise solutions when things went wrong. And things were definitely going to go wrong. The asteroid is spinning, reported Dr. Tony Chen, the mission's lead scientist. The drill entry point keeps shifting. We'll have to make real-time adjustments during the approach. Real-time adjustments? Captain Vex felt his stomach drop. That means no predetermined flight path, no safety calculations, no backup protocols. Exactly. Chen replied cheerfully, we'll have to figure it out as we go. The final mission team was smaller than anyone wanted, but larger than the aliens. Thought was safe. Rita Hayes would lead the drilling operation, accompanied by 2 human engineers and 2 alien technicians, who had volunteered despite their crewmates' protests. Kate Williams would coordinate communications between the asteroid team and both Command centers dot as the team prepared to launch. Captain Vex watched the humans perform what they call pre-mission rituals. They shook hands, hugged each other, and said things like "see you on the other side" and "give 'em hell." The aliens found these behaviors puzzling but oddly moving in our culture. Commander Zara confided to Kate, "We usually spend pre-mission time calculating survival probabilities and updating our wills." "We do that too," Kate replied, "but we also remind each other why we're fighting. It makes the scary parts easier to handle." The launch went perfectly, which immediately made everyone nervous because nothing ever went perfectly when humans were involved. The combined human-alien shuttle approached the asteroid using flight patterns that violated every safety regulation in the Galactic Handbook, but somehow managed to avoid the debris field surrounding the massive rock. Approaching the drill site, Rita's voice crackled over the radio. "Holy cow, this thing is even bigger up close." The drilling operation began smoothly. Human engineers worked alongside alien technicians, each group amazed by what the other could accomplish. Under pressure, the aliens marveled at human ability to adapt their techniques in real time, while the humans were impressed by alien precision and technological capabilities. Then the asteroid decided to remind everyone why this mission was considered impossible. "We've got a problem," Rita reported, her voice tight with concentration. "The rotation is accelerating. Something about our drilling is affecting the asteroid's balance." From the command center, Blake watched the mission data with growing concern. "Can you compensate?" "We're trying, but the drill path keeps shifting. We're having to make adjustments every few minutes." What followed was 6 hours of the most intense cooperation anyone had ever witnessed. Humans and aliens took turns solving problems that neither species could have handled alone. When human intuition suggested a solution that seemed impossible, alien technology made it work. When alien calculations predicted disaster, human flexibility found alternative approaches. The most critical moment came when the drill team reached the asteroid's core. The radiation levels were even higher than predicted, and the energy interference was scrambling their communication systems. "We can plant the charges." Rita's voice was barely audible through the static, "but someone needs to stay behind to trigger them manually. The interference is too strong for remote detonation." The silence from the command centers lasted only seconds before Rita's voice came back, steady and determined. "Don't worry about us down here. We knew this was the likely outcome. Just make sure our families know we did this willingly." But the aliens had learned something about humans during those intense hours of cooperation. They never gave up, even when giving up made perfect sense. "Wait," called Dr. Chen from the Earth Command Center. "What if we boost the signal using the alien ship's transmitters? If we can create a focused beam, that might work," Captain Vex realized. "But it would require perfect timing and coordination between 3 separate systems." "Then let's do it," Blake said simply. The final sequence was the most complicated operation anyone had ever attempted. The charges were planted, the drill team was extracted with minutes to spare, and the combined human-alien technology worked exactly the way it was supposed to, which surprised everyone involved. The asteroid fragment didn't just break apart. It was completely shattered into pieces too small to threaten Earth, as the debris field spread harmlessly through space. Cheers erupted in both command centers. But the real victory wasn't just saving Earth. It was the moment when humans and aliens realized they could accomplish together what neither could do alone. The galaxy was about to discover that Deathworlders made excellent partners, especially when the situation seemed hopeless. 3 weeks after the asteroid crisis ended, Captain Vex found himself doing something he had never done before in his long career: reading human history books. He sat in his quarters aboard the alien flagship, still orbiting Earth, trying to understand how a species could survive and thrive on a planet that should have destroyed them long ago. "Computer, show me more information about human conflicts," he said, and immediately regretted it. The data that appeared on his screen was overwhelming: wars, natural disasters, plagues, ice ages, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, floods. The list seemed endless. According to his ship's database, humans had faced extinction-level events dozens of times throughout their history, and somehow they had not only survived but had grown stronger each time. "This is impossible," he muttered, scrolling through records of something called World War II. They fought a global conflict while also dealing with disease outbreaks and economic collapse. How did they have any energy left to rebuild? Down on Earth, Dr. Kate Williams was having similar conversations with visiting alien scientists who couldn't understand how human society functioned. She had set up a cultural exchange center in New York where humans and aliens could meet safely and share their different perspectives on life. Your people engage in activities purely for enjoyment that would terrify most galactic species, observed Dr. Lyra, a six-armed alien scientist who specialized in behavioral studies. "We have recorded instances of humans jumping from aircraft, with only fabric to slow their descent." Kate laughed. "You mean skydiving? That's just a hobby. Wait until you hear about mountain climbing, deep-sea diving, or race car driving." Dr. Lyra's skin changed color, apparently the alien equivalent of looking shocked. "But why do you intentionally seek out danger? When your planet already provides so much of it naturally, I guess we're used to it." Kate explained, "When you grow up dealing with hurricanes, earthquakes, and blizzards, jumping out of a plane doesn't seem like such a big deal. Plus, overcoming challenges makes us feel alive." Meanwhile, Commander Zara was having her own eye-opening experience touring a human military training facility. With General Blake, she watched human soldiers practicing combat techniques, learning to work as teams under pressure, and preparing for situations that might never happen. "You train your people to fight even during peacetime?" she asked, watching a group of soldiers navigate an obstacle course that looked designed to cause injury. "We train so we can protect peace," Blake replied. "The better prepared we are for trouble, the less likely trouble is to defeat us." Zara studied the training exercise more carefully. The soldiers weren't just following orders, they were thinking, adapting, making decisions on their own when situations changed. In most galactic armies, soldiers wait for detailed instructions from commanders before taking action. "That works fine when you have time to think," Blake said. "But in real combat, or during disasters, you need people who can make good decisions. Quickly, we train independence, not just obedience." The cultural exchange sessions became daily events, with humans and aliens sharing stories about their respective worlds. The humans learned about galactic civilizations that had solved problems like poverty, disease, and resource scarcity through advanced technology and careful planning. Most alien worlds were peaceful, stable places where citizens lived long, comfortable lives without fear or uncertainty. The aliens, however, were fascinated and terrified by human stories of adventure, exploration, and survival. They heard about Arctic explorers who had spent months in conditions that would freeze most alien species solid. They learned about deep-sea researchers who dove to crushing depths in tiny submarines. They discovered that humans regularly traveled to space despite knowing that a single equipment failure could mean certain death. "Your people are either completely insane or incredibly brave," Captain Vex told Kate during one of their regular conversation sessions. "I haven't decided which. Maybe we're both," Kate replied with a grin. "The thing is, we've never known any other way to live. Earth doesn't give us the option of playing it safe." Navigator Quinn had been studying human entertainment and was completely baffled by what he found. "Captain, humans create fictional stories about disasters, conflicts, and dangerous situations for enjoyment. They call them movies and books, and they seem to enjoy being scared by imaginary threats." "That makes no sense," Vex replied. "Why would anyone want to experience fear when they don't have to?" Kate overheard the conversation and joined in, because overcoming fear feels good. When you face something scary and survive it, even if it's just in a story, you feel stronger and more confident. The revelation that changed everything came when Dr. Lyra shared her analysis of human behavior. With the alien command staff, she had been studying Earth's response to the asteroid crisis and had made an incredible discovery. "According to my calculations," she announced to the assembled aliens, Humans didn't just survive the asteroid threat, they performed better under extreme pressure than they do during normal circumstances. The more dangerous the situation became, the more effectively they worked together. Commander Zera looked confused. That contradicts everything we know about crisis psychology. Most species become less effective when stressed, not humans. Dr. Lyra continued. Their brain chemistry actually improves their performance during emergencies. They think faster, cooperate better, and show more creativity when facing life-threatening situations. Captain Vex felt like he was beginning to understand something important. So when we thought we were witnessing humans at their worst, we were actually seeing them at their best. Exactly. And there's more. I've been reviewing galactic history, looking for unsolved problems that have challenged our civilizations for centuries. Many of them involve situations that require the exact skills humans have developed: rapid adaptation, creative problem-solving under pressure, and willingness to accept calculated risks. The implications hit everyone at once. The galaxy had been stuck with certain problems for hundreds of years because they approached everything with caution and extensive planning. Human-style quick thinking and bold action might be exactly what the galactic community needed. General Blake arrived at the exchange center later that day to find Captain Vex deep in conversation with a group of human engineers about something called emergency protocols. The difference, one of the engineers was explaining, is that we plan for things to go wrong. You guys seem to plan for everything to go right. But what if your preparations aren't enough? Asked Navigator Quinn. Then we improvise, the engineer replied simply. We make do with whatever we have and figure out solutions as we go. The aliens exchanged glances. In their culture, improvisation was considered a sign of poor planning. But watching humans work, they were beginning to realize that the ability to adapt quickly might be more valuable than having a perfect plan. As the days passed, both species began to see how they could learn from each other. Humans discovered that alien technology and scientific methods could help them solve problems they had always accepted as unsolvable. The aliens learned that human flexibility and courage could help them tackle challenges they had been avoiding for centuries. The real breakthrough came when a message arrived from the Galactic Council. Pirates had been raiding trade ships in a distant sector for months, using hit-and-run tactics that made them impossible to catch with conventional methods. The Council's military forces were too slow and predictable to stop them. This is exactly the kind of problem human tactics could solve, Captain Vex realized. Your people specialize in adapting to unpredictable opponents, and your technology could give us the tools we need to catch them, General Blake added. For the first time since first contact, both species saw a clear path forward. They weren't just allies helping each other survive a crisis. They were partners, with complementary skills that could benefit the entire galaxy. The age of human-alien cooperation was about to begin, and the universe would never be the same. 6 months had passed since the asteroid crisis, and Earth had become the most talked-about planet in the entire galaxy. Dr. Kate Williams stood in the brand-new Earth Embassy on Centauri Prime, the galactic capital, watching alien news broadcasts that she still couldn't quite believe were real. Today marks another controversial decision by the Galactic Council, announced a blue-skinned reporter with 3 eyes. The human proposal to create joint defense teams has passed initial review, despite strong opposition from conservative council members who consider human methods too unpredictable for galactic security. Kate smiled as she watched footage of the debate. Alien politicians arguing about whether humans were too dangerous to work with, while other aliens defended humanity's proven track record of solving impossible problems. It was surreal but also oddly flattering. Nervous about the presentation today? Asked Captain Vex, who had become Kate's closest alien friend over the past months. A little, Kate admitted. Speaking to the entire Galactic Council is a bit more pressure than I'm used to. You'll do fine, Vex assured her. Besides, after what happened with the Devourers situation, I think most of the Council is ready to listen. The Devourer crisis had changed everything. Just 3 weeks ago, ancient machines from the edge of the galaxy had returned after 1,000 years of silence. They were called Devourers because they consumed entire planets to fuel their technology, turning living worlds into empty husks of metal and rock. The Galactic Council's response had been exactly what everyone expected: careful planning, overwhelming force, and defensive strategies that had worked against every enemy for centuries. But the Devourers weren't like any previous enemy. They adapted to every attack, learned from every defense, and grew stronger with each battle. Traditional galactic forces had lost 3 major engagements before anyone realized their standard. Tactics weren't working. That's when General Blake had made a suggestion that shocked the entire council. "Let us try," he had said during an emergency session. "Give us a small fleet and let us show you how humans fight impossible odds." The council had been desperate enough to agree, though many members expected the human-led mission to be a disaster. Instead, it had been the first decisive victory against the Devourers in months. Now Kate was here to explain how they had done it, and more importantly, how human and alien forces could work together to protect the galaxy. The council chamber was enormous, filled with thousands of representatives from hundreds of different worlds. Kate had never seen so many different types of aliens in one place, some that looked almost human, others that were basically intelligent plants, and a few that seemed to be made of living crystal. "Honored representatives," Kate began, her voice carried throughout the chamber by translation systems, "I'm here to talk about partnership, not replacement. Humans aren't asking to take over galactic defense. We're asking to work alongside your existing forces to create something better than either of us could achieve alone." She activated the holographic display showing the recent battle against the Devourers. 3 weeks ago, your traditional forces engaged the enemy using proven strategies, coordinated formation attacks, technological superiority, and defensive positioning. The results were unsuccessful because the Devourers adapted to these predictable patterns. Murmurs rippled through the audience. Several alien council members looked uncomfortable with Kate's blunt assessment. The human-led mission used different tactics. Kate continued. "Instead of formation attacks, we used random strike patterns. Instead of technological superiority, we relied on improvisation and misdirection. Instead of defensive positioning, we used aggressive mobility." The hologram showed human pilots working with alien crew members, their ships darting unpredictably through space while alien weapons provided covering fire. It looked chaotic compared to traditional galactic warfare, but the results spoke for themselves. The key wasn't that human methods were better, Kate explained. It was that they were different. The Devourers couldn't adapt to tactics they had never encountered before. Commander Zara, who was attending as a military advisor, stood to address the council. "I've worked directly with human forces, and I can confirm that their approach to problem-solving is unlike anything in our databases, where we see impossible situations. They see interesting challenges. But how can we integrate such unpredictable methods into our existing military structure?" asked Council Leader Thane, a tall alien with silver skin who had been skeptical of human involvement from the beginning. General Blake, who had been invited to attend via holographic link from Earth, answered the question. "You don't integrate them into your existing structure. You create new structures that use both approaches. Some situations require careful planning and overwhelming force. Others require quick thinking and calculated risks. The trick is knowing which approach to use when." The debate that followed lasted for hours. Conservative council members worried that human methods would destabilize the careful order that had kept the galaxy peaceful for centuries. Progressive members argued that this careful order had also made galactic forces predictable and vulnerable to new threats. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source, Dr. Lyra, the alien scientist who had been studying human behavior. She presented research showing that species who had faced regular challenges in their evolution were better at handling unexpected crises, while species from stable environments were better at maintaining long-term peace and prosperity. The data suggests that humans and galactic species complement each other perfectly, she concluded. Humans excel in crisis situations that require rapid adaptation. Galactic species excel in stable situations that require careful management Together, they can handle any challenge. The final vote was closer than Kate had hoped, but decisive enough to matter. The Galactic Council approved the creation of integrated defense forces, with human and alien crews working together on ships designed to combine both technologies and tactics. But the real victory came later, during the celebration reception. Kate found herself surrounded by young aliens who wanted to hear stories about Earth and human adventures. They were fascinated by tales of mountain climbing, ocean exploration, and space missions that pushed the boundaries of safety. "Is it true that humans explore dangerous places just to see what's there?" asked a young alien who looked like a walking flower. "Sometimes," Kate replied. "We're curious about the universe, and curiosity often leads us to places that aren't completely safe." "That sounds terrifying and exciting at the same time," the young alien said thoughtfully. Captain Vex joined the conversation, bringing news from the latest council session. They've approved funding for the first integrated training academy. Human and alien cadets will learn together, studying both tactical approaches. "And there's more," added Commander Zera. "Several galactic universities want to establish exchange programs with Earth. They want to study how living on a challenging world affects psychological and cultural development." Kate looked around the reception hall, watching humans and aliens talking, laughing, and sharing stories about their different worlds. 6 months ago, humans had thought they were alone in the universe. Now they were partners in a galactic community that spanned thousands of worlds. The changes weren't just happening in space, either. Back on Earth, alien technology was helping solve problems that humans had struggled with for generations. Clean energy, medical advances, and environmental restoration projects were progressing faster than anyone had thought possible. But perhaps the most important change was in how both species viewed challenges. Aliens were rediscovering the courage to take calculated risks and try new approaches. Humans were learning the value of patience, planning, and thinking about long-term consequences. "You know," Kate said to Vex as they watched the celebration continue around them, "when you first received our distress signal, you probably thought you were coming to rescue a primitive species from a dying world." "That's exactly what we thought," Vex admitted. "We had no idea we were about to meet our new partners." "Partners," Kate repeated, liking the sound of the word. "I think that's going to work out just fine." Outside the embassy windows, ships from dozens of different worlds moved through space in patterns that would have seemed impossible just months before. Human unpredictability guided by alien precision, creating something entirely new. The galaxy had been forever changed by the arrival of the Deathworlders, and everyone was beginning to realize it was a change for the better. The universe was a dangerous place, but now it had defenders who specialized in turning impossible situations into unexpected victories. The age of human-alien cooperation had officially begun, and the future looked brighter than anyone had dared to imagine.